Part 2 opens with Wednesday and Thing making a pit stop at the Jericho coroner's office. Wednesday hopes to further examine the homeless man's body for potential case-breaking clues. She records her findings as she closely inspects the corpse. Suddenly, the sheriff and the coroner arrive in the office, so Wednesday hides. The pair discuss the case, and the coroner shows the sheriff the severed foot from the homeless man. It's missing 2 toes. After the sheriff departs, the coroner notices one of the doors on the mortuary shelf is cracked open. He finds Wednesday within, but the goth teenager is excellent at pretending to be a corpse, so he doesn't suspect anything. The scene cuts to Ms. Thornhill's class, where everyone's abuzz about the upcoming rave dance. Xavier tells our protagonist about it, but she'd rather stick needles in her eyes. She later snoops around in Xavier's mysterious art studio and finds a plethora of sketches that look exactly like the monster. She hurriedly grabs a few drawings and flees, only to find the artist himself standing outside. Thankfully, he doesn't suspect anything, and instead muses whether she might ask him to the rave dance. To conceal her breaking into his studio, Wednesday asks Xavier to accompany her to the dance. He accepts. Next, Wednesday visits the sheriff with Xavier's drawings. The sheriff holds one sketch next to the photo he found on the homeless man's camera roll. It's a match. The sheriff reluctantly agrees to work with her if she brings substantial evidence to the table. She does suspect Xavier, though. After all, he can bring artwork to life. Meanwhile, Enid runs into Lucas at the coffee shop. Lucas is the mayor's son and a flatline bully. He asks Enid out to the rave, to which she accepts immediately. Wednesday runs into Tyler, who expresses romantic interest in her. He wants to attend the dance with her. However, Wednesday claims she must prioritize, hurting Tyler's feelings. Then, Wednesday accompanies Eugene to the beekeeping club. She shows him the sketches, and Eugene seems to recognize the cave in the picture. He then takes her to a nearby cave, claiming that he saw it when he was out researching bees. There, they find a claw lodged in the cave wall. Next, Wednesday returns to Xavier's art studio to find a piece of evidence with DNA that'll match the claw. She finds a bloody rag and puts it inside her bag. Suddenly, Xavier catches her red-handed. He realizes she had ulterior motives for asking him to the dance. Wednesday inquires if he's the monster. Xavier explains that this creature has been haunting his dreams for a while, so he sketched its likeness on paper. Unfortunately, the beast came to life, and its claws scratched Xavier's neck. Having realized that Wednesday had tricked him, Xavier angrily kicks her out. Later, our goth gal drops the claw and bloody rag on the sheriff's desk. She then orders him to run tests on them. Meanwhile, Thing discreetly types a note on Wednesday's typewriter and drops it off at the coffee shop for Tyler to read. It's rave dance night. While other students attend the event, wearing glamorous dresses, Wednesday plans to do cave research with Eugene. Suddenly, Tyler knocks on her door with a bouquet. Turns out, Thing crafted a tender apology for Tyler, luring him to the dance on Wednesday. He also managed to get a gorgeous black gown. Initially, Wednesday is annoyed with Thing for acting without her knowledge. However, all is forgiven when she sees the stunning dress. Tyler is smitten when he sees our protagonist adorned in that dress. Sadly, Eugene is taken aback to find Wednesday changing plans all of a sudden. She reassures him that they'll resume their investigation the following day. She also urges him not to go into the woods alone. However, he defies her order and embarks on his solo quest. On the dance floor, everybody is stunned to see Wednesday clad in such a beautiful dress. Xavier cannot contain his feelings for her, so he approaches her. He finally tells her about the lingering beef between him and the sheriff's son. After that, Wednesday informs Tyler about her conversation with Xavier. We learn that Tyler used to hang out with the bullies. They destroyed Xavier's wall painting and assaulted him during last year's outreach day. Tyler explains he's not that person anymore. Wednesday doesn't blame him, claiming she would have gone further. Meanwhile, we see Lucas text his friends, who plan on exacting revenge against the outcasts for the burning of the Joseph Crackstone statue. Next, Wednesday performs her exceptional goth dance steps on the floor, surprising everyone. Elsewhere in the woods, Eugene has returned to the cave site. He observes while someone sets it on fire. Back in the dance, Lucas and the bullies turn on the sprinklers at the dance, squirting red liquid all over. The dance floor is now drowned in red paint. Everyone screams and tries to run, but they just end up falling again and again. Suddenly, Wednesday has a vision featuring a terrified Eugene and his death. Wasting no time, she runs for the woods to find him. Meanwhile, Eugene tries to escape the monster after hearing its snarls. Wednesday calls out for him, but to no avail. Unfortunately, the creature attacks Eugene before she can reach him. When she finds Eugene, he's covered head to toe in blood. The class teacher, Ms. Thornhill, also arrives at the scene and inquires if he's alive. In the next scene, we see Wednesday flipping through her father's police file. We flash back 32 years ago to one stormy night when young Larissa finds a dead body in the Nevermore courtyard. Young Gomez stands on some scaffolding while holding a sword. He's covered in blood. We see the police taking Gomez away while young Morticia confesses she's never been more in love with him than watching him get handcuffed for murder. Now, we're in the present for Nevermore's parents' weekend. Gomez, Morticia, Pugsley, and Lurch arrive in style, as per usual. Principal Larissa delivers a speech for all the visiting families and their students. Enid laments the entrance of her werewolf family. Sure enough, Enid's mother instantly criticizes her daughter, namely for not developing her lycanthrope abilities. Meanwhile, Morticia and Gomez meet their child and question her about her time at Nevermore. We also see Bianca's mother, Gabrielle, making an appearance at the event. Later, Morticia peruses Larissa's yearbook and reminisces on fond memories. She remembers when Larissa and Morticia performed for the talent show, and Larissa's Judy Garland impression was spot on. Principal Larissa informs the Addams crew that Wednesday's therapist wants them to attend a group session. The Addams agree to get therapized. Meanwhile, Sheriff Galpin is on his phone at the coffee shop, asking about the DNA test on the monster's claw. He spots the arrival of the Addams family's sleek black car. Then, the sheriff gets a call regarding the medical examiner, Dr. Anwar, who committed suicide. Next, the Addams clan sits with Dr. Valerie Kinbot for a group chat. Pugsley admits that he misses his sister, as do Gomez and Morticia, but Wednesday is in for something else. She whips out her father's police file and demands some answers. Who is Garrett Gates, and why did Gomez kill him? The furious Morticia reprimands her daughter for searching up this info now. This is an old case and the charges against Gomez were dropped. Enraged, Morticia storms out. Then, Wednesday tells her mother she plans to dig deep into whether the latter supports her. Meanwhile, Bianca meets with Gabrielle at the coffee shop, who reveals the real reason why she's in town. Gabrielle leads a cult called Morning Song, where she manipulates people for money. However, her siren song is weakening. She married a guy Bianca despises named Gideon, and they both hope Bianca, who changed her name when she arrived at Nevermore, will come home soon. Otherwise, Gabrielle will have to let slip the news that Bianca cheated her way into the academy. In the next scene, Wednesday visits Eugene in the hospital. The poor boy is in a coma in the ICU. Our goth girl blames herself for allowing the monster to attack Eugene. Eugene's mother's pop in for a visit, and they thank Wednesday for her friendship as Eugene never had any friend. Elsewhere, the sheriff stops by the morgue to survey the scene. Dr. Anwar left a note before killing himself, claiming his regret is forging documents on a murder case from 3 decades ago. Unfortunately, someone put black gum on the camera, so it's obscured and the police won't be able to know what really happened to Dr. Anwar. However, the sheriff believes the case the late coroner regretted manipulating was the Gomez Addams, Garrett Gates one. Now he has the evidence. He needs to lock up Gomez. Next, Wednesday watches while Morticia lays a red rose on Garrett's grave. While everyone's feasting in the school courtyard for the festivities, Sheriff Galpin barges in to arrest Gomez. The Addams family stands in shock as Gomez is handcuffed and taken away. Later, Wednesday and Thing visit her father in jail. She demands to know the truth. He reveals that Garrett became obsessed with Morticia, was stalking her, even. Morticia reported it to the police, but to no avail. Finally, Gomez took an enraged Garrett down. After hearing his story, Wednesday's not so sure her father is guilty. Meanwhile, Enid's mother presents her with brochures for a lycanthrope conversion summer camp. The camp is meant for Enid to forcefully turn her into a werewolf, as she hasn't become one yet. Naturally, Enid protests this. Later, we see Morticia standing in the meeting place for the Nightshades when Wednesday visits her. Morticia discloses the truth of what occurred that fateful night. While Gomez was attempting to fend off Garrett, Morticia noticed how the latter foamed at the mouth in pure rage. Left with no choice, she stabbed him, after his body fell onto the courtyard below, and was subsequently discovered by Larissa. Gomez grabbed the sword and urged Morticia to hide in her room. Turns out, Gomez took the blame for Morticia. After hearing that Garrett was foaming at the mouth, Wednesday muses whether he was plagued with something. Morticia follows her daughter's train of thought. Thus, the duo embarks on a trip to the Jericho Cemetery. Wednesday digs up Garrett's grave for evidence, but the cops catch them and arrest the pair. We see them thrown into a cell next to Gomez. Thankfully, Wednesday managed to retrieve something from the grave and shows it to her parents. It's a finger tinged with blue, the color of Nightshade. They realize that Garrett was already dying when Morticia stabbed him. Nightshade poisoned him. Suddenly, Wednesday has a vision. In the vision, Garrett's father orders Garrett to poison everyone at Nevermore with Nightshade. We see a vial of poison pass between the two. Wednesday notes that said vial broke in Garrett's pocket, thereby poisoning him. After their release, our mother-daughter duo presents their case to Mayor Walker. Morticia accuses him of saving his own skin. When she informed him about Garrett stalking her, Walker did nothing about it when he was sheriff. He tried to cover up the case. Wednesday then shows him Garrett's nightshade-eyed finger. Morticia orders Walker to let her husband go free, otherwise, she'll expose him for the fraud he is. Thankfully, he complies. As a consequence, all charges against Gomez are dropped a second time. Even Sheriff Galpin apologizes to Gomez, and the two shake hands. Meanwhile, Enid takes a stand against her mother and orders the latter to accept her for who she is. She'll turn into a werewolf when the time is right for her. At the end of the parent-teacher weekend, Wednesday bids farewell to her family. Later, after peering in Larissa's yearbook, Wednesday confronts her principal. Larissa didn't just imitate Judy Garland for Nevermore's talent show, she became Judy Garland. This means Wednesday has found out the truth about their principal. She is a shapeshifter. She transformed into Rowan the day after his murder to convince everyone that nothing was amiss. Larissa claims she did what she could to shield the school from controversy. Wednesday asks the shapeshifting principal how she's protecting Eugene. Suddenly, Larissa and Wednesday hear clamoring and shouts outside. They find the message "Fire will rain" written in fire on the school lawn. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.